Hi everyone, so final video review for this week is for Deuce by Jen Silver. For any of you that didn't see the introduction video last week, here's just a quick look at what the book looks like, but you can still catch that introduction video on YouTube, on my channel or on my blog, so please go and check that out. If you want to check out my review, I have just posted that, so if you're on YouTube there's a link in the description below, and if you're on Facebook or on my blog then there's a link within the post. And this is the video review. So Deuce by Jen Silver was a really intriguing and lovely story. It was a bit different and I really like that. So Jay's life hasn't exactly gone to plan. She no longer has a tennis career, and when the past sort of comes back out of the blue, she's relieved but anxious as to how Charlotte, who's returned, will react to all that's happened and may happen between them now. So Charlotte, who is Jay's missing lover who was lost at sea, has returned, and now it's not only Jay's life that has been turned upside down. Tess, Amanda and other family members also find themselves fully impacted by Charlotte's return. So I was very intrigued by the story as soon as it started. There were a number of lives that entwined in it and were impacted by Charlotte's return, and I loved how Jen interwove them as well. It was such a mystery, and what had happened to Charlotte was not the only mystery. It was sort of how all these connections meant her memory had never been forgotten as well, especially not by Jay, but it also sort of added to that mystery that who's Charlotte. So there were so many moments in this book that were important, many things. There was one tiny reference that I absolutely adored, and if you know me and you've read the book, I'm guessing you'll know what one that was. But if you can guess, comment below, let me know if you think you figured it out. That would be so cool. Jen explores a lot in Charlotte and Jay's story, a lot. Not only the consequences of the past coming back so abruptly like Charlotte does, and invading your life, but literally turning things upside down, and the impact of decisions the characters have made in their time apart, but also that impact upon other people's lives. So how everything changes, the whole dynamic for everyone changes when one person returns. And every piece of the puzzle in this story had the characters reacting differently, completely understandably, but differently. And I think with Charlotte's character, she was always the main focus of the stories, no matter which character's point of view we were in, and we got to see many characters' points of view. And I think that was most important. In one way or another, she was about to change the life of everyone, even herself. And given all that Charlotte had been through since being lost, she handled everything, I must say, extremely well. And a lot had changed, so she was trying to remember things as they were, but also embrace them as they are now. And I can only assume that must have been very difficult, because she'd been living a life where she hadn't been exposed to some of the things the other characters had. And having sort of forgotten a lot about herself, it was difficult for her to adjust and be remembering things, especially at first. So it was the fact that in the end she still hoped Jay would have feelings for her that got to me. You know, she remembered all she had with Jay before and just hoped they could find it again. And Jay had a lot to contemplate in obviously Charlotte turning up again, because she'd moved on, her life had changed. So Jen's covered a lot in this story. Like I said, she's given the point of view of many of the characters, which has helped build up a really rounded story that we really got to engage with the effects of Charlotte's return. The entwined stories then added loads of drama, and it had me not only thinking about the whole sort of story, but also important things and issues that Jen had raised using the characters, and contemplating them also from the very different characters' points of view, how it all looked from the outside, how it looked to one character and how it looked to another, and how it was perceived. There was a lot in there, so you got a lot of perspective on this whole story, and you could see how it was affecting everybody differently, and why as well, most importantly. So I really enjoyed Deuce. I think it was a different kind of story. It was very much focusing on self-discovery, being true to yourself and embracing differences, more so than a romance, because the romance element of it was that these two people were long lost, you know, sort of destined to be together. It was going to work out one way or another, but they had to go through a lot to get to that point. So I highly recommend this story for anyone, and hope that if you're reading it, you really enjoy it, because it's just one of those stories that will make you believe in happy ever after, but it'll also give you a lot to think about as well. It'll give you a lot to contemplate. So I really liked that. It had a nice, different, unique edge to it. So I'll pop a link in the description so you can go and grab a copy of Deuce by Jen Silver, which I hope you will. If you've read Deuce, then I would love to hear your thoughts on it. It's one of those stories, like I say, I think it makes everyone's going to perceive it slightly differently. So if you have read it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And if you haven't read it, but it's only to be read list, you're planning to read it, or you're now really, really intrigued and thinking, I would love to read that, again, it would be great to hear your thoughts. So please comment below, please let us know that you're interested in reading it. And if you do read it, I hope you enjoy it. Bye!